Hello and welcome to this video brought to you by Lowest Art. My name is Emmanuel Okafo and I hope you guys are doing well. In this video we'll be looking at the new release for Pupa 3.0. So this has been a long time coming, and after a lot of work that has been put into this, it's out now. And if you had a previous copy, you can just go ahead and update your version. So yeah, it's a very big release. It's something that I needed for it to be perfect, and we've gotten into a place where it's a very awesome tool. Okay, if you have don't have it installed, or you had it previously installed, you want to go and uninstall it first of all, and then start a new Blender session. So you close your Blender, restart your Blender. So we'll go ahead to install this. When you go to your download folder, you'll see we have a Mac and Windows version. So if you're using Mac, you can select your Mac, and if you have Windows, you select your Windows. The reason for this is the AI program, so we had to compile it for Mac and for Windows. So yeah, let's go ahead and install Windows version. So we go to install from disk. Just going to put in this part and we'll click on it. So it will take a bit second for it to kind of set up. It's a large file, especially for Windows, I think 1.7 gig. The previous versions were just like 200 MBs. Okay, so once you have it installed, this is how it's going to be looking. You would see this new preference. This is for the AI generation system. If you increase any of this, it's going to increase the accuracy of the whole process, but it's going to take longer. So this is the default, which would give you some decent result. Okay, so let's go ahead and start exploring what this is bringing. So the update took a while because we are timing all the changes going on in Blender. Also, we're kind of backtracking on a lot of releases because I needed it to be perfect, or at least way better than the previous version. And you can be able to see that in the rigging, animation, and retargeting. The animation and retargeting are totally new systems, so it was built from scratch. Any issue you had previously, for the past. Okay, so if you have your character, you can create your own collection and move your character into that collection. But if you're working fast and you don't want to create that, you just select any object and click on this icon. It's going to create a nice collection for you. So you can also generate rigs without fingers or with fingers, depending on your needs. So if you need fingers, you just click on that and you click on auto rig, and it just goes ahead to set it up for you. The Mac version will be faster because of you'll have to install something that was already only available for the Mac devices. Makes it way faster, but for Windows it's pretty fast too. And this is the result. For the most part, it's quite great. It's just the finger that it struggles with sometimes, but those are easily fixed. I will go into more like in-depth video in the coming future on ways to get the best results from the whole rigging system. So let's say you're happy with this. At this stage, you could actually go in and tweak things. That's why you have this preview stage, so you have the ability to refine the placement of the bones. Also importantly, we can come to the tools, and the rig is generated asymmetrical for a couple of reasons, and you would have to snap it back to symmetry, or you could work asymmetrical. But if you want to work asymmetrical, you come here and uncheck the X mirror, so now you can move things symmetrically, or you can access that here from the header too. Okay, so that's the quickly generating the rig. Once you're done, usually when you generate the rig, you get like a nice pop-up asking you to bind. So you can choose to skip this, or I mean, you can choose to just click away, make your changes. You can get it back by clicking on this bind collection. So when you come to this bind collection, you have a couple of options. So you have use meta rig. So using meta rig is like for situations where you don't need the whole complexity of Rigify, and you're just happy with this skeleton here as your final rig. You can just click on use meta rig and hit OK, and it's just gonna bind the character onto the meta rig. So we'll go back. If you have this unchecked and hit OK, then it's going to go ahead and create the entire Rigify setup for you. Yeah, so that's that. We also have a couple of just two binding options, the voxel bind. So depending on your character, if we can bring up an example. This is usually problematic. Okay, so this is a nice example of an asymmetric character. I mean, we could even make it even more obvious. Let's say we have this character and we want to auto-generate the rig. So we can quickly create a collection for it. I would uncheck the rig hands for now. I just click on auto rig. So it's going to generate your rig. And if we bind this with the automatic weight, it tends not to bind. So for any reason, it's kind of the weight binding failure that you usually get. That's when you could use that voxel binding. So the default size is 0.3. I will go into more in depth into like basically documenting it some more. But the scale of your character is important. As you can see, this is roughly like a 6'4" character. So it helps with the voxel. If the character is unrealistically big, then it could make the voxel take long. But yeah, so the voxel can come in quite handy when you're dealing with like a character with lots of combined assets or props that you want to deform quickly. Yeah, so let's quickly generate a rig. We need to select the right collection. Okay, let's go ahead and bind this and create generator rigify. Before we do that, I wanna adjust this slightly, bring the knees like this. Okay, and so we can automatically bind it. Good. So for the rigging utilities, if you're familiar with the old Pupa, most of this stuff are the same, just updated to fit the whole new Blender rigging layer system. So you click on Deformer. This is now more user-friendly. So if you uncheck this, it just removes everything. So you can view your deformer bones, and you can unhide to see your entire rig. And that's it. So we also have the transfer object weight. So this is also handy if you want to attach like prop onto your character. So the transfer from, then you select the rig and transfer to. So this also works with collection. So you can select a collection, bunch of objects, and you transfer it all at once. So once you have that, you click on transfer, and now the sphere is part of this, and it will deform with everything. Yeah, so that's the transfer object weight. And now we can move into the fun stuff. The animation, lots of user improvements. We improved the search. So now searching like things for run is going to give you much better um, preview of the animations that include like stuff like run. If you do fall, it should be smart to start adding or it's easy. The search is way more better now. If we search die or kill, so it's going to it's smart to know from kill like you're referring to dirt, dying. So just little user improvements like that. Uh, Also, if you close your Blender scene, so it's going to remember your previous search, and so it just lovely user experience overall. Um, okay, so let's go into the animation. This is an entire new animation system. Uh, so all the presets are all new. It comes in with human gen support, MetaRig, Mixamo, Rigify, and Rigify to like relation if you use that workflow. So the way we'll start with, let's select the right one, which is Rigify Mixamo. So basically a Rigify rig attached to a Mixamo mockup. So we can, let's select Zombie Dirt. So we have hit die. So one thing you would notice immediately is how the kind of the retargeting process is way stable. We can look at work like the foot is always touching the ground. It's more accurate. And the best improvement is like previously doing searching for stuff like push up is like those are animations that we're probably not gonna retarget perfectly, but now that's not an issue again. We can do sit up. So the retargeting system is like crazy good. I think it's probably the best, if not in Blender. It's easy to set up. It's way forgiving. You notice like it does a lot of things automatically for you. So the motion capture might be like if we preview this and we bring out the motion capture data, we can see it's like a T-pose. And when we kind of match the names and set up the retargeting, you actually don't need to like align anything. You just set up the name, tag the bones you want to match the rig, and you just click OK, and you have your motion. It just maps it for you. So we'll be looking at that soon. Uh, Another powerful thing about this animation engine is it allows you to tell good stories because now you can say a character is walking on the wall, you can place your character anywhere basically. So let's say climbing. Better still, let's do work. So the rotation of if you rotate it anywhere, it works. So let's say we rotate it this way and we rotate it this way. It just continues working from there. So it doesn't matter how you rotate your characters. You scale it, probably not scale the not scaling it, but I mean you can scale this up. It doesn't matter. It will just work. Okay. I mean, there are a lot of more like fine details there, which we'll have like a dedicated video for. But this is just like a general overview. So most everything is still the same. Those features you know and love are still there. So let's do like a simple work. So this system now allows you to kind of, let's do one simple work, and you can just do extend animation, and then your next working is going to just continue. And if we bring up our timeline, so it's going to preview the previous animation. Now is still you can still preview that and continue to the next one. So, and because of the robustness of the motion capture, the retargeting system, you can just keep any new animation you add is just going to continue from the last point. So that's really good. Another really awesome way of working with this is we don't bake the animations to keyframes. So let's say your character is walking and you apply that animation. If we look in the keyframe, select your character rig, you might not see any animation. That's because it's here in the NLA strip. And this is really great because it allows you to like adjust this and use just without still just making the whole process still modular. And if you didn't know, you could come here and press tab. You can go into the NLA strip, and if you want to adjust the individual keyframes, you could do that. But yeah, this makes the whole process quite modular, and we'll see one advantage of it. So let's just pick a random animation. So from walking, we want it to crouch. So previously, you would be stuck with this. So we can see how quick it snaps onto this. But now we have this workflow. What we can do is just move this in here and blend it. So once you blend it, we have something like this. You can blend this as much as you want. Blend this out. Probably not. But it allows you more final control. Let's say you want to reduce the speed of that, you have access to that. So we can playback speed, you can reduce it. So we have a slower action. So this is really powerful. And like before, you can quickly just jump and do your animation layer. So let's say it's working. We can select everything inside keyframe, and then he looks to the left, looks to the right, and we'll copy this back here. And if you want to add a new set, you can add new layer. So that animation we created is placed here. So we have this. We can disable the animation we did, but we can bring it back. You can choose to rename it. You can delete it. So it's just a very user-friendly and creative process of working with this. So we have the usual switch to FK, run the animation, switch to IK, switch to FK, hide stuff, just inside keyframe, just stuff that comes handy when working with Rigify. So we can also use Pupa is well integrated into other systems. So let's look at Human Gen. I mean, in the ballpark of in the kind of wider view, human gen is rig is not too different from meta rig, and I think you can convert this to like you can select it and upgrade meta rig, and you can probably generate Rigify from it. Uh, but if you don't want to do that, you can still use this. So we'll come to the animation, and that's where you have the human Mixamo. And just right off the back, we can play it. So one thing you would notice is like sometimes during the preview of your animation, the animation might seem slower. So that's not like that's a kind of the feature of the process, because what's really happening when you preview animation is none of the animation you're seeing playing on your character have been there's no real keyframe, so we are actually calculating and pose we are actually posing your character every single frame. So that's not real-time animation. But for stuff like the human generic, for some reason it's slower. I don't know why. But you can increase that speed if we come to the timeline and set this to real time. It will at least try to be faster. We can probably disable the hair. Okay. Yeah, so it's playing the frame one after each is creating pose each frame. So that's why it might seem slow, but it's not really if you apply the animation and it bakes it to the keyframe, and then you get it's faster. So you have all the animations you know and love. Do that. Yeah, so it just works. You will not experience all those weird bone twisting, I'm turning. This is a way advanced system than that. Okay, so that's the human gen. Let's do one for auto rig. So auto rig should work by default with this. So we'll just bring in a random character so we can rig it with auto rig. So if you use this tool, you probably know the drill. Add neck, add chin, add shoulder. So just kind of showing that it's like right off the back auto rig. You can make to work with this. Right, okay, did that right. Then we do the match rig. Combine this. Okay, so now you have your auto rig. We can come to the animation. So Pupa has always been kind of auto rig has always been integrated with Pupa in some way. So you get your default IK, but with Pupa you could actually come and switch it. The same switch you use for your Rigify, which we can probably use this character. Okay, just kind of clean things up. So we'll generate one quickly for it. Okay, and yeah, so kind of all the same settings. So this is IK rig, so we can switch it to FK. So it's kind of same thing going on right here. So you have FK, you can now switch it to IK. So it's integrated nicely. Get back to IK. Okay. So the animation, you want to select auto rig Mixamo, and you twist and then. As you can see, this is actually way faster than the meta, the human gen for some reason. Okay, so let's look at the animation preview. What are you getting here? It's kind of the typical thing. You have the animation speed control, the repeat animation, kind of removing things from the playback. So let's say we want just the bottom part to be part of the animation. So we click on preview. So just the hip, and we can also remove the hands. So just the feet and the hip, that'll be moving. Looks weird. I mean, you cannot add it back except you cancel and bring back the animation. Okay, so that's the preview. You also have the tweak, rotation, and position. So this comes in handy. Let's say you want to adjust like how far, like a arm is like penetrating the body, or just adjust the animation. So you could do that here. You could come here and rotate it manually, or you could do that in the viewport. You can just come in the viewport and adjust it yourself to fit your character. And then all the bones you have made adjustments to, and select them and click on set tweak. So those changes you made, let's say for this we can pull this out, set tweak. So it inputs the values for you, and yeah. Um, yeah, so I was gonna touch on another one. So the next is this position axis. For that, we'll bring in like a locomotion as the catwalk. So it's basically like stay in place. So if you select the hip, you can click on like the Y axis or the axis where you don't want it to have a motion capture in. So if we turn it on, you see it's moving. If you turn it off, it stops moving. So that's how you can control that. Next, you have the source rig transformation. So basically, sometimes rotating the hip bone during like the retargeting process, it's kind of messed things up because we have calculated the whole system, and if you're rotating, kind of mess it up. But we know you would still need to be able to do stuff like that. So you can just actually rotate this value, which is rotating the motion capture itself, allowing you to have this control if you need to without any issue. So these are just handy controls that will for sure come in handy, useful. Um, yeah, have I covered everything? I mean, there are like a lot of things I would show, like how to ensure you get consistent animation with this new system that allows you generate animation at any point. There are like things you would know to avoid or at least to improve the quality some more. So I'll be making videos about that soon. We also still have the import animation, so we can do, and we can import and make some more animation, which is working, and we have it. We can import another one. If that's make some more. Okay, yeah. So the import animation still works. So let's import like one from Relution. So this is the action core. I can bring up the website. So like for some projects, you I've used this, so it has premium like motion capture, so I added that as a default preset for you to be able to use. If you, I mean, you can easily set up yours, but at least just nice starter pack. So let's import some animations for that. The seminar briefing, and so we can adjust the hands a bit so they're not touching a lot. Set tweak. Sometimes it's also good to set tweak for the hands, as if we adjust any part of the arms and stuff. So we have so yeah, it's looking nice. Yeah, I think the only part left is the retargeting. I think I will do a demo for you. So let's say we want to retarget relution to, let's see if we have any auto rig to relution. So we don't have that, so we can create one now. Okay. What we'll do is just go ahead and bring in that animation which we're previewing. So we'll just import the FBX. So we'll clear the rotation. It doesn't really matter. I'll just move it aside for now. So we will select the source rig, which is the relution, and the target rig, which is this rig. Click next. We'll be building a new one, so we'll just cancel all of this. So first of all, you want to select the hips. So you want to ensure you're selecting the right hip. So you click on plus, it adds it. So it's going to add the two names, and it knows that you cannot add multiple. So for the hip, you want to click on X, Y, and Z. So you want to enable it. This is going to say by default copy the location of the animation. So next we have this rotation. So we add that. We add this. And we add the chest. So we'll also add the neck. And finally the head. So we'll do shoulder. This one. The list is growing. And finally the hands. I will pause the video and come back once I'm done. Okay, so I've kind of selected and added them. I skipped the fingers just to kind of speed up things, but you can always do it. Though advice, if you have fingers, the animation preview might be slower since it's processing multiple bones to calculate the pose, but during playback is fast. Okay, so once you've added all these names, the next is this input. So you want to select your head and set it at the top. For your hip, we want to select the hip bone name there. And for your bottom bone, so you would think you would select this root bone. No, you want to select like your leg. So the reason for this is the reason why we're able to place the animation anywhere, like rotate it, scale it, and it just works, is because we can calculate the correct scale each time. And if your character is moving, most times it's not moving with the root. So to ensure that, you would want to use the leg, which is the lowest part aside from the root. So that's why you put the foot. So once you have that, one more thing. Also, we can see this is in an A pose and this is in a T pose, which is usually the biggest issue with motion capture data. Because if they were all in A pose, then it's easy, but they are unpredictable, so you want to be able to match them each time. So you have to tell Pupa what what part of the body do you want to match the motion capture when you're kind of setting it up? So we want the arms to match it. So we can say we can select. You just select the bone. Click on this. Gonna select it. We'll do the same thing. I will not match the. I don't want to match this. So that's fine. You can choose to match the shoulder. Sometimes it might not be necessary depending on your rig. But it's always try and error. So let's select this. Okay, so you might also want to match the legs, just in case maybe your character legs are spread wide open and you really want it to be one-to-one to the motion capture and no customization. So you can go ahead and do that. And that's it. That's all you need to do. So if you do retarget, it's matching. Why is that? Okay. If we preview the animation, you can see we have it working. But anyway, sometimes it might look like it's not working here or anything, but that's fine. All you need to do is just go ahead and save this. So we can call this auto rig. We call it we do auto rig resolution, action call. Okay, so that's how you save your preset. Now if we come here, we have auto rig action core. So we can actually delete this now. And let's go ahead and import that. Oops, that transferred. Maybe we could actually fix it. Let's see. We go back steps. Okay, so the issue was we didn't add this to the, it was not mapped, so let's, okay, so we need to map that. Okay, so ensure you have all your bones mapped, please. Yeah, so now we can preview our animation and it should be all good. So that's how easy it is. As long as you tag the right bones, and so we stop the preview again, so you guys can see how it working. So if we retarget this, you can see how it matched the pose. You don't have to like do anything. So that means if we get this rotated and say retarget, it's gonna match the pose. So you can preview animations from here. Yeah, so that's the retargeting. It's pretty straightforward to set up. Yeah. Also, you can delete like presets that you saved. Though you cannot delete like the ones that come with the Pupa stuff. So that's just heads up. So that's the really basic of getting into it. It's a really fun tool. It can really help you with productivity and creativity. Yeah, so if you've had if you bought it before previously, you can just go and update for free. But if you want to, if this looks intriguing, something you would like to check out, it's on Blender, the old Blender market now, Super Hive. So you can go ahead and check that out. Yeah, so that's it, guys. I hope you're having a lovely week. Bye bye for now. See you next time.